Hey y'all, from the farm. Okay, so in December of 2018 was the last time that I was supposed to get my driver's license renewed. Okay, when the time came for me to have to do that, I was in the middle of a depressive episode. Okay, I was just out of it, and I didn't go right then. I didn't really leave the house a whole lot. I was just in a really bad place. Wound up not going until about April of 2019. Okay. And North Carolina has actually an allowance for that. You can actually renew your license up to a year after it expires. You just aren't supposed to drive on the expired license, unless of course you're our congressman, Madison Cawthorn, who apparently gets away with that. Nonetheless, none of that happened to me. But when I did go in April of 2019 to get my driver's license renewed, they asked me, well, why did you wait? Why didn't you get it done? And like a dumbass, like a naive, trusting person, I said, well, I have PTSD and I was depressed. I hadn't been nowhere. And the lady gave me this instant, oh, well, we are the eyes and the ears of the state, and we have to evaluate you and make sure that it's okay for you to drive a motor vehicle. And I was like, do what? And they gave me this big ass packet of forms that I had to have filled out because I told them I had PTSD. Now, backtracking just a little bit, y'all know, unless you're new, I guess, I have PTSD because I was abused as a child, right? I suffered emotional abuse, a lot of psychological mess. My dad was an alcoholic. My mother was an enabler. It was all my fault growing up, according to them. There were times I had to hide in the closet thinking, fearing for my life. There was a lot of psychological stuff. When I have flashbacks, when I have issues that come up from this, it's, I'll cry, I'll get anxious. Mostly I'll just not leave the house, kind of like what happened in December of 2018, right? None of this affects how I drive because, I just don't go nowhere. And my dog's going through anyway, none of this affects how I drive. I'm not someone that was in combat, and has flashbacks where I think I'm back in combat, like you see on TV, that kind of thing. That's not what happens to me. Nonetheless, none of this mattered. I had to have all this stuff filled out. Fortunately, I have insurance, and I could afford to go to multiple different doctors to have all these forms filled out. They had to be filled out by licensed medical practitioners. I had to go to my psychiatrist, I had to go to my medical doctor, and I had to go to an eye doctor. Well, I had already been to the eye doctor before I had gone to the DMV at that time. I had just gotten new glasses. So I gave them my prescription information. I gave them all the printouts that I had gotten from the doctor, and I got everything else filled out. So they accepted everything, and we kept going back and forth, and I kept telling them, this is discrimination, this is wrong, this is none of your business, this is ridiculous. And long story short, they accepted everything but the information that I gave them from the eye doctor, because it wasn't specifically filled out by the eye doctor. It was the same information, just on a printout, but it wasn't filled out by the eye doctor. And they sent me another letter saying we need this form filled out sometime in 2019, like June, July, something like that. We need this form filled out at your earliest convenience, or you may have your driving privileges revoked. And I ignored it, and I never heard anything else about it. Well, when I moved up here, it's really difficult up here in Western North Carolina. That was in Eastern North Carolina. I'm now in Western North Carolina. And the DMV here is really understaffed. And it took me like 5 different attempts of going to the DMV before I got there in time to be actually seen, because you have to be in line. You can make an appointment, but appointments are scheduled out through the end of the year already in my county. And so that was out. So to change my address on my license, I would go get in line, and it took me like 6 times to get there early enough. They start taking walk-ins at 1 o'clock. I had to get there at 11 o'clock to get there in time to be seen before, like, it doesn't matter how long you've been waiting. If you're at 4 o'clock, if you haven't gotten into the building, they don't let you into the building, except so many people at a time into the building. 8 people at a time they'll let into the building. Raven, say hey to Raven. Say hi. Say hi. Anywho, so yeah, it took me 5 attempts before I got there early enough to actually be seen. And then when I did actually be seen at the DMV here, that's when I found out that I have been driving on a revoked license since 2019, and I didn't know it because I never got, I mean, maybe they sent a letter to me, but I never got it. I don't know. Anyway, oops. So, okay, so the only thing that was outstanding, everything else had been accepted, but the eye doctor. So they gave me that particular page. I needed new glasses anyway, so I went to the eye doctor. I had it filled out, got new glasses. Got that done, sent it in. Within a week, I had a form saying that, you know, my license was reinstated, everything's all good, right? Until less than a week after that, in my mailbox is the whole motherfucking form again. They started the whole damn thing over, and I have to start all over again. I have to go all over again. So my psychiatrist is on the other side of the state now. I'm still seeing the same psychiatrist. So I just went to my medical doctor, and she filled out everything. We've sent it. I've faxed it in. So hopefully, we'll see. I haven't heard back yet. This was just yesterday. I went to see her. But even she said, this is ridiculous. This is invasive. So apparently, as I called down there, here's the thing that really pisses me off. Like I said, my congressperson, Madison Cawthorn, can be pulled over multiple times for driving without a license, and nothing happens to him. Nothing at all. He also can twice be caught trying to take a loaded firearm onto an airplane in this state, and nothing happens. Nothing. Yet I mentioned one time that I have PTSD, and I have to go through all this ridiculous rigmarole. Like, if I did not have insurance, if I had a job that I had to work around, where, you know, I'm very lucky. My husband supports me. I don't have to work. I don't, you know, other than what I do, you know, starting farm here, you know, take care of the goats, take care of the dog, got the garden started, that kind of stuff. You know, I'm very lucky that I can afford to go do all this bullshit. What about people that can't? What about people that are holding down 2 jobs and barely making ends meet, and they have to take time off work, pay for out of pocket for doctors to go have these stupid forms filled out, and they are ridiculously invasive. It's like 7-8 pages of wanting to know every possible diagnosis about everything, endocrine stuff, cardiovascular stuff, musculoskeletal stuff, all possible psychological diagnoses, substance abuse stuff. I mean, I can kind of understand substance abuse stuff. That makes sense. You know, you don't want somebody that's a raging alcoholic. You kind of want to monitor that if they're going to be driving. That one I sort of kind of understand. Everything else, though, is like absolutely none of their fucking business. You know, again, I was abused as a child. Why are y'all all up in my business about whether or not I'm driving? I have a perfectly clean driving record. I haven't had an accident in years and years and years and years. And the last time I did, it wasn't even my fault. I haven't had a speeding ticket in a decade or more. I mean, no accidents, no problems, no issues. I just made the mistake of telling the DMV that I have a mental health diagnosis, and now they're all up in my business. I don't know if they're going to accept what my doctor did. I don't know if I'm going to be allowed to continue driving. I don't know if I'm going to have to do more stuff, if I'm going to have to go to more doctors, if I'm going to have to fill out more paperwork. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. Meanwhile, my congressman can just drive around with a revoked driver's license and it don't matter. He can take knives onto school property 4 different times over the course of so many months and nothing happens. He can attempt to take a loaded gun onto an airplane. Not a damn thing happens. You know, if I tried to take a loaded gun onto an airplane, what would happen to me? After the TSA tackled me down and drugged me off in handcuffs? But Madison Cawthorn can do it and still get on the plane. Doesn't even miss his flight. That's some bullshit, y'all. But that's the state of North Carolina. That's the state of North Carolina discriminating against my mental health. Discriminating against people that have mental health diagnoses. So, I don't know if it's the same way in other states. I don't know what's going on with that. What I do know is, if you have any kind of mental health diagnoses, don't ever mention that to any government official. You know, I was dumb enough to believe all the stuff at my psychiatrist's office talking about, you know, in the stigma, you know, don't let there be a stigma about your mental health diagnoses. You know what? Yeah, keep the stigma. Keep your mouth shut. Don't be telling people. Don't be telling the government, because then they get all up in your business and they make you have to jump through hoops just to be able to do what normal people can do. And it's wrong. It's dead wrong. Anyway, that's where we're at. So I sent the paperwork in. I'll keep y'all updated. I'll update this when I hear back, if I got to jump through more hoops or if they finally let me go. Their excuse was, they say that my doctor put down, she thought it was stupid last time. And she put down, that I required a follow-up after 6 months. What that meant was I follow up with her every 6 months, right? That was what I did with her, is I saw her every 6 months. They thought that meant, or that's what the woman said on the phone, was that it meant that the DMV needed to follow up with me every 6 months, which is not at all what was meant. Also, I asked the woman, so what is the criteria that y'all use to decide whether you're going to stay all up in my business or whether you're going to dismiss this? Well, that's proprietary, she tells me. This was decided by doctors and specialists all over the state, and basically it's none of your business. And I'm like, the hell? What do you mean? Can I see a copy of the guidelines? Nope, you cannot. This is proprietary. Companies are allowed to have things that are proprietary. I said, ma'am, you are not a company. You are the government. My taxes pay your salary. No, you're not allowed to have proprietary. You know, so she told me what the statute was that makes all this stuff legal, but the state of North Carolina keeps the criteria that they use to decide whether or not I'm allowed to keep my driver's license a secret from me. I don't think that's right either. That's some bullshit. Anyhow, this is my vent. This is my rant for the day. I think it's bullshit. I don't know what to do about it because my state is all gerrymandered to hell and my vote really doesn't matter. It really doesn't count. So I'm pretty powerless to do a damn thing about it. So all I can really do is come on YouTube and Twitter and bitch about it. So that's what I'm doing. So that's it. But it's a beautiful day here in Western North Carolina. I don't know, can you see any mountains in the distance? I'm kind of sorta. You kind of, sorta can a little bit. The I don't have much view this time of year because the trees, you can see my trees are all leafed in, and I don't have, can't see nothing. There's my raised beds that I've got a couple going. We had a bear night before last, y'all. Maybe I'll do a video about that. Bear came and broke into my chicken coop. It didn't bother the chickens. It just stole their food and carried it off, which was kind of funny. Everybody's fine. We fixed the fence. Hadn't seen them again. So, but that's it. The state of North Carolina sucks in that regard, but it's still beautiful here. And that's it. Hope y'all have a wonderful day. And I don't know, if you got anything you want to vent about, say so in the comments. And y'all have a great day. Bye.